Right now in South Carolina, in a courtroom there, relatives of a 14-year-old boy executed 70 years ago are making their case for a new trial. NBC's Mark Potter joins us live outside the courthouse in Sumter, South Carolina. Mark, what's the basic argument being made by the family of George Stinney?
Well, Chris, the basic argument being made by his family and the legal team here is that 70 years ago, his trial was what they call a travesty of justice, and they say he may have been convicted and executed for something that he didn't do. They want that verdict thrown out. They want his name cleared. This all began in the spring of 1944 in the tiny mill town of Alcaloo, South Carolina, where two little girls, both white, ages 11 and 7, were found brutally murdered. Shortly thereafter, George Stinney Jr., age 14, who was African American, was arrested. Police say he gave an oral confession, although there is no written record of that. His family was run out of town. The trial lasted just 3 hours. There was no physical evidence presented. The defense put on no case. The all-white jury convicted him in just 10 minutes, and he was then sentenced to die. His court-appointed defense attorney filed no appeal, which would have stayed the execution for at least a year for further investigation. He did not do that, and so on June 16, 1944, George Stinney Jr. was put to death in the electric chair just 83 days after his arrest. Now, some family members from relatives of one of the victims, Betty June Beneker, age 11, have come forward to say that they believe he was properly convicted, that he was guilty, and they oppose the efforts now to overturn the verdict. So now the judge here in this courthouse behind me is being asked to go back 70 years, look at that case, and decide if that guilty verdict still stands. Chris?
Yeah, this isn't something you see happen every day, so I guess this is a lot of speculation here, but is there a sense of what the chances are that the judge would order a new trial 7 decades later?
It's not a slam dunk. Nobody expects there to actually be a retrial. She could overturn the verdict, but there are hardly any witnesses left, no physical evidence left. They could never have a retrial. What they're asking for is a directed verdict of acquittal to clear his name. And some legal scholars have said, you know, it's again not a slam dunk that can happen, but they're trying. And there's a crowded courthouse and a spillover courtroom being used right now to house all the people who are here to watch this being done. This is an historic event here in South Carolina.